Hello everyone, it's Catherine here bringing you the books of the Bible. So let's recap. Remember there's 66 books in the Bible and we're working through the Old Testament. So we're starting with the law books. We did Genesis, the beginning. Exodus, the Israelites are leaving. Leviticus, God is leading. Then we did Numbers, God is counting. Deuteronomy, God is repeating. We went from the law books, from the desert time. They went into the promised land being led by Joshua. But what did we learn in last week's lesson of Joshua? So let me recap what we learned. We learned that Joshua and Caleb went with the spies to spy out the promised land. And they came back with huge bunches of grapes and fruits and amazing harvest, amazing promised land. But they feared the people and said, it's too huge. They have such big walls, thick walls. There's no ways we're going to be able to do it. Why on earth are we having hope in going there? We should be going back to Egypt. Complain. Moses got frustrated. The people wanted water. He hit the rock instead of speaking to the rock to get water. So there was anger, there was frustration. And so Caleb and Joshua tore their clothes and said, stop this, everybody. Let's trust God. He's calling us into the promised land. Let's have faith. Let's go there. But because of the people's complaining, because of their unbelief, what happened? God spoke to them and said, because of your unbelief, because of the way you're reacting, I'm going to send you into the desert for 40 years. And it was hard, and it was the consequences for not believing. And in Sunday school, the children realized, while we were teaching them, that they realized that when Joshua, God raised him up, and Caleb to lead the people into the promised land, the parents who doubted, they didn't go into the promised land. Only the children of the parents. And it's amazing because the children were like, why couldn't the parents come with? It said because they didn't listen to God and they were disobedient and they kept not obeying the law. And then the children remembered, oh yes, when Moses went up the mountain to get the 10 commandments, they waited and waited. They didn't want to stop waiting. They took off their jewelry. They made a golden calf, worshipped a golden calf. So all these things the children in Sunday school remembering. And so they said, so only the children went in with Joshua and Caleb. I said, yes, only they went in to the promised land. But now at the beginning of the book of Joshua, I want to highlight something. It says here in verse 1, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses, my servant, is now dead. Now therefore arise and go to this Jordan, you and all the people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the people of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I will give to you, just as I promised to Moses. From the wilderness and Lebanon as far as the great river, the river of Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, to the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I was with Moses, so I am with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers. Only be strong and courageous. Look how many times he's saying be strong and courageous. Being careful, listen to this, being careful to do according to all the law that Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, that you may have good success wherever you go. So isn't it interesting? He's saying to Joshua, do what I say, have faith in me, follow the law, and you will have success. You will gain this territory and you will have success. And it was quite a highlight for the children last week, which I hadn't planned, but that often happens with children, and the Holy Spirit reveals things in their hearts. And they realized the main point for them in that lesson is that God took the people that had faith but left the parents and brought the children who and then said to him, now don't be like your parents, but follow the law. And what is also interesting, the last book in the law books was Deuteronomy, which is repeating, means the law was repeated. because now the children had to relearn the law and had to learn how to follow the law. And so we're feeling for this next Sunday school lesson, teacher Annika is going to do the repeating and going through the main parts of the law, so that we as children in the Sunday school, we live by faith, yes, but we need to know what is right and what is wrong, because how do we know what to do if we don't know what is right and what is wrong? So in the book of Joshua, the symbol we're going to have is obviously the spy sign. And then obviously he's victorious. So they're entering the promised land. So entering the promised land, spying, entering the promised land. And you know what happens? Those big walls and things that the parents had been scared of and said, we can't go to promised land. Was it pushed down in the strength of the Israelites? No, he just told them to go around 7 times quietly. And on the 7th time, go with the trumpets, with the shofars. And what happened? God made the walls fall down. So how do we remember the book of Joshua? Spies going into the promised land and God making the walls fall down. So that's how we remember the first history book, Joshua. So we go Joshua. That's Joshua. Okay. Then if you want to learn the next book in the history book, it's Judges. Judges. They're the people that help keep the people to the Lord. The Judges. Then the next book after that is Ruth.